Hey, welcome to the Buffalo End Zone podcast, everybody. Here we are, John. Finally, football games about to be played and the Bills kicking things off with the New York Jets. That's Jon Scott, by the way, everybody.
Yeah, I was worried about your energy. You kind of came in like this and crescendo.
It was a change-up.
It was a change-up to start. Kevin, it's week one. This is technically our third podcast of the week. We're coming out the gate hot. And maybe we'll see if the Bills will as well.
Yeah, you hope so, John. After the way the season ended last year, you would hope that these guys are chomping at the bit as much as the fan base, John. Of course, Bills Mafia had this date circled on their calendar the second they found out about it, when this season was going to get back underway and hopefully right the ship, get back to where they need to be. Start with the New York Jets, John, and of course that means you get Aaron Rodgers off the top. But before we get into that, just position battles we've been keeping an eye on all summer long, all off season long. Everything came to when you go to check the depth chart now, you don't have three people at one position, three people at another. Now it's big boy time. Now it's time to name the starters, John. The obvious one I think we all knew going in was O'Cyrus Torrence getting the start on the line. Maybe Terrell Bernard, a bit of a surprise, though.
O'Cyrus Torrence, and as we get into really shifting our focus specifically to the matchup against the Jets, what a start for a rookie to go up against an all-pro who just got paid in Quinnen Williams. But you're right, that was not a surprise. That seemed pretty apparent. It was a surprise at the beginning of camp. Oh, shoot, O'Cyrus Torrence from day one is getting run with the first team. Oh, maybe it's just part of a rep count. And then day after day after day after day after day, it was him. We saw him in all three preseason games, as we've noted. Ryan Bates never actually played guard in preseason action. He was the backup center, and that's how things are going to unfold. He definitely earned it, and that's what Sean McDermott said the other day. He earned it. It was more about what O'Cyrus Torrence did rather than what Ryan Bates didn't do. If we go to the middle linebacker position, we said it on the show, the Buffalo End Zone season preview show. I think Terrell Bernard getting the middle linebacker starting position is more about what Tyrell Dodson did not do as opposed to what Terrell Bernard did do.
And Christian Benford getting the start at the other cornerback opposite Tre'Davious White, John. And he did get the start in the opener a year ago. This year's opener is against a Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers. So he's going to be tested off the bat. And I think it was interesting that Sean McDermott, of course, was approached with, is this going to be a rotation or is Christian Benford the starting other cornerback?
You can't give me the credit. Who was he approached? Who asked the question, Kevin?
I don't know. I was in a meeting in someone's office and saw it.
I got to pat myself on the back every
You do,
now and
John.
again. I did. Sean gave me a little wry smile because it was this gamesmanship, I think, of, I got to ask this question, and I know you're not going to actually answer it. So he said we'll see when I asked him if it's just going to be Christian Benford or if there's any sort of a potential rotation. History would indicate you maybe should expect a rotation. We've seen that for years at that second cornerback spot. I'm not particularly in favor of it. The only thing I would maybe be more open to the idea is, ironically enough, if it maybe involved Kaiir Elam and not Dane Jackson, because Elam's skill set and his strengths, which we've been very well documented on this podcast and many other platforms, he's a press man corner. He's better being physical. If they wanted to throw a different look at the New York Jets or anyone else week in and week out, if you're going to rotate him in, maybe that's where I would be more open to it. But the depth chart tells you Dane Jackson is next in line. And so if we do see a rotation on Monday Night Football at the gate, expect it to be Christian Benford with the start. And then if someone does come in relief in a rotation, it would be Dane Jackson.
Yeah, so here we go. A tough draw for the Bills right off the bat on paper, John. With Aaron Rodgers, the Jets went out and got him. They got themselves a quarterback now. Quarterback play, of course, has been an issue over the last few years, even though the Jets have given the Bills trouble here and there. But now you have a surefire Hall of Famer at quarterback. He's been there. He's acclimated to the Jets system. And he has his buddy Nathaniel Hackett there. And the two of them coming up with an offense that is, in their mind, going to, I almost said Brett Favre, is going to set Aaron Rodgers up for success.
Yeah, everything is there. I want to start, though, just generally. This stage that the Bills are starting the season on, a year ago, it was the opener, Thursday Night Football against the reigning Super Bowl champions. We know how large of a platform and the vibes and hype surrounding that one. And I guess it lived up to it from a Bills standpoint. It was a close first half, and then they really took a head of steam and beat a team that ultimately was bad in terms of the Rams. Week one's always funky like that. You never really can truly value what the performance is one way or the other. This one's cool. I mean, it's Monday Night Football. It's the last game of week one. It's New York City-ish. It's New York.
All right.
But you do have the 9/11 aspect of things. It is Aaron Rodgers' debut, and it is against a team, Kevin, that beat the Buffalo Bills a year ago when Zach Wilson started the game. So It was something that, as we've discussed in other places and will continue to in this one, what does Aaron Rodgers bring? What sort of a way does he elevate things? You would have to imagine it's going to be, in some capacity, it can't really get much worse than the three quarterbacks that the Jets toted out there a year ago. So I just think it also is just maybe another reminder as we go into the 2023 season of the times of 5-6 years ago of where the Bills were such an afterthought. It's a big deal, but it doesn't feel as much of a big deal because we seem to be just so used to these stages.
Bills Jets used to be regulated to Thursday Night Football when Thursday Night Football might have been at its lowest point, where just no one was in. I think interest in Thursday Night Football a little bit bigger now, but you got Monday Night Football. You have Bills, you have Jets, you have a lot of national media outlets claiming that the Jets are already overthrowing the Bills as the AFC East leaders. So it can't get much better than this right now. You know, you go back and it was Bills-Dolphins rivalry all those years, and then Bills want to beat the Patriots. But here we are. It's now the Bills-Jets, the Monday night opener, down in New York City under the lights. Huge, with the quarterback matchup being the prime matchup you see on like billboards and on things you see on TV. It's Aaron Rodgers. It's Josh Allen.
And I go into this asking myself, how important is this game for the Bills? How important is it for the Jets? Who is it more important for? It's week one. In the grand scheme of things, normally you would say, win or lose, it's not going to dictate the results of the rest of the season. It will not tell you who either team is. And that is true. But to me, with all of the hype coming with Aaron Rodgers coming to the New York Jets and everything steamrolling in that way, and then as we've discussed, it's not that way for the first time in maybe a year or two with the Buffalo Bills. They're looked as maybe third or fourth kind of on the AFC depth chart.
Right.
What would it mean if the Jets come in and beat the Bills? What does it matter how it looks if that's the way that it goes? What about on the Bills side of things? Is it, if the Bills just win the game, does that temper all of this hype for the Jets? Do they have to blow them out to make everyone pump the brakes and say, wait, maybe we were looking at this wrong. Maybe the Bills are the team that still hold their foot on the gas in the throats of everyone else in the division. I kind of go back and forth. To me, it's bigger for the Jets because they're trying to ascend to a level they have not been in quite some time because it's been occupied by the Buffalo Bills.
I would say it's bigger for the Jets, too. I'll agree with you on that. But on the Bills side, the fan base and how last season ended, the Bills go out and go down to New York and win on a last-second field goal and get one of those wins like they were barely squeaking by at the end of last season as they go in. I think for the Bills fan base, you have last year's Rams game stuck in your head. You have what the Jets used to be stuck in your head, and the feeling of confidence going into this is that it's prime time. Josh Allen and company should be able to put up points. But, man, John, that Jets defense was really good last year, and they're looking to be just as good, if not better, this year. And they already gave Josh Allen fits. But I think whatever happens, whatever the outcome is in week 1, I think it's more important for the Jets to get off to a better start because there's so many you have Aaron Rodgers now, but there's a lot of questions. He's not just coming in and, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't see this as an exact scenario of Tom Brady going to the Buccaneers and all of a sudden the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the team to beat. But we'll find out.
I think this will be a good test for fans to maybe recalibrate their gauge of what they need to see or want to see and hope to see win or lose from this team. It's a hell of a schedule. I mean, it is tough. They are playing some really good football teams, and I would put the Jets in that category. The division as a whole, those 6 games that you play inside the division, I don't think you could just say, well, 2 against the Patriots, at least 2-1 from I don't think you can do that.
Right.
I think even whatever you think of New England, they could be scrappy. That defense could win them a game. They'll probably win games for them against other teams as well. So I think maybe moderate your eye test meter of sorts going into this and say, hey, it doesn't have to look pretty, especially week 1. Just get the W because you don't want to start this season in a hole in the division against the New York Jets.
Yeah, and now the New York Jets, new team for Aaron Rodgers, John, and part of me leans towards, offensively speaking, earlier this summer I was thinking maybe it might take a while for that offense to get up to speed. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is hey, I'm going to get the play from the coach. Go in, we're going to run that play. He's going to go up to the line and change things. He's going to make different decisions to move players around and stuff. So it will be interesting to see how far along they've come. Now, I talked to Zach Rosenblatt from The Athletic earlier in the week who covers the Jets, and he said something to me that I found interesting is that Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson right now, John, the guy who Rookie of the Year last year on offense, they're on the same page. You couple that with he has Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb, 2 guys who have played with him already at the wide receiver position, that already there's at least that chemistry there that the Bills are going to have to be ready for. It's not some adjustment period that it's going to take a while. It looks like at least Rodgers seems comfortable with those guys he's going to be passing the ball to, so don't expect them not to be on the same page in the opener, which I thought they might be.
They have the familiarity in Nathaniel Hackett and Aaron Rodgers. So from a play calling standpoint, all right, seamless. You mentioned a couple other carryovers with Lazard and Cobb. All right, so you have a rapport. You could have rapport, though, but what type of players are they? Especially a guy like Cobb, who's, without a doubt, 1 foot outside the door in the league.
So I wanted to say this. The comparison between Rodgers' relationship right now with Wilson is akin to Devontae Adams when the 2 of them were together. So think about what they were able to do with those role players in what they were able to put together. Played so well that Adams left for the Raiders and will probably disappear.
But he didn't in his first year.
Right.
So that also, I think that surprised a lot of people that, people thought Aaron Rodgers simply made Devontae Adams. And then Devontae Adams went out there last year in Vegas and showed with Derek Carr, who is not a bad quarterback, but he's not Aaron Rodgers, that he can do it. Listen, I think it is wildly unfair and unrealistic, in my opinion, to, before they've even played a game together and didn't even really have preseason action together, to compare Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson to Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams.
Right. I'm just saying that Rosenblatt, when I talked to them, said that they're on the like that relationship looks to be like the one those 2 had in Green Bay.
Yeah, and that's fair, and I'm not questioning what he saw because he sees it a lot more than me, and we saw Josh Allen, a young quarterback, instantly develop incredible chemistry and rapport with Stephon Diggs their first season, and it has only carried on. So I'm not saying it's not impossible.
Right.
Garrett Wilson is the reigning offensive rookie of the year. As an Ohio State fan, I certainly was well aware of his talents coming into the league, so it's not surprising. I'm not saying that Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers aren't going to be one of the best quarterback wide receiver duos in football. You just got to see it. And this is where we can shift the conversation slightly to the Sean McDermott and Bills defense side of this, because what are the Bills going to look like, and how are they going to go against a guy like Aaron Rodgers and then Garrett Wilson? Because in the past, all right, they're going to play a lot of zone. They're going to disguise coverages, especially with Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. The guys are going to play 5, 7+ yards off the line of scrimmage, and they're just going to work to not get beat deep. That's what we've seen in the past. They're not going to blitz a lot. What are we going to see? But you'll always see them in nickel. They'll rotate the defensive front. To me now is they've played Aaron Rodgers. They played him last year. And to be honest with you, I was looking at Aaron Rodgers' career game log. Under Sean McDermott, they faced in 2018 and 2022. In 2018, snooze fest up at Lambeau Field, Josh Allen's rookie year. 22 of 40, 291, a touchdown and a pick. They really ran the ball well, did the Packers. Last year, 19 of 30, 203, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Was sacked twice. They kind of got a little rolling when the game seemed out of hand in the second half. I'm not saying it was quote-unquote garbage time, but it's not like Aaron Rodgers. He's never thrown for over 300 yards in his career against the Bills just in general. He's played them 4 times, and he's older. So you could always say, well, it's a new team, but nobody has Aaron Rodgers' number. But why would the Bills drastically change a defense that has seemingly worked? But this is where I want to see the change-up, the wrinkles that Sean McDermott adds, because as Micah Hyde indicated, a former teammate of Aaron Rodgers, he has seen everything. To try to confuse him or make him unsure of what he's seen is incredibly challenging. I want to see how Sean McDermott, because it's unknown at this point, how his defense with him being the play caller is going to look.
And we talk about the pass rush and getting more pressure on the quarterback. And the offensive line, John, out of the entire New York Jets team, that's their weakest link right there, is that offensive line. So when you talk about getting more pressure from Sean McDermott now that Leslie Frazier's not there, when you talk about getting to the quarterback and possibly blitzing a little bit more, be interesting to see off the top here right away that they're aware of what that weakness is. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers is up there in years now, John. He's not a young buck anymore. So I think just full go. Just go after Rodgers and make him uncomfortable off the top.
Mekhi Becton, a high draft pick, hasn't panned out, dealt with injuries. He's someone that I think you should really attack off the edge. Okay. I think you really need to attack because he hasn't played in so long. Go after him. Let's see what he's like. Dwayne Brown is really old. He's the other tackle. You have the Connor McGovern bowl of sorts, 2 guys, but he's at center. Elijah Vera Tucker was hurt last season. He's a good player, but I agree with you. The trenches is where you'll always hear coaches say the game's going to be won and lost. But we need to see this pass rush, which is incredibly deep on the interior of the defensive line, and then see what the guys on the outside can do without Von Miller. That's where I think it's really going to be won, because if this patchwork offensive line can somewhat withstand whatever the Bills are trying to do with just their front 4, I think it could be a long night. And I don't just want to look at this Jets offensive line and say, it's a weak spot, because you know the last time we said that was the Cincinnati Bengals, and they absolutely were a stone wall against a defensive front that had a lot of these same pieces that are coming Monday night.
Man, that's right. They were pretty banged up on the offensive line before that game. On the flip side, John, of course, Josh Allen, high-powered offense. We have primetime Josh. We have week 1, Josh. We have now Josh, the Hollywood star that gets followed around by paparazzi. But here we are, and it's Josh Allen going up against a big-name quarterback in the spotlight with no other games going on. And it still seems like that's right in his wheelhouse to go out there and get in the proper place. And what better way to shake off how last year ended than to come out and make a statement with this offense right away?
We've wholeheartedly reached a point in Josh Allen's ascension as one of the best quarterbacks in the league where he's, funny enough, not that big of a talking point for me anymore. The expectation for me, regardless of how good or great a defense is that he too will be good to great every time he is out there. Josh Allen being okay or having what we would consider a bad game is probably some of these numbers we talk about Aaron Rodgers that he's had against the Bills the past couple of years. That's just where I'm at. An interesting thing that I kind of want to see from Josh in this first game is I want to see him with a concerted effort to get the ball out quick and just get it out underneath to all these weapons that are there. That doesn't mean never take the shot. And it's not like he's slinging it down the field all the time. I want to see Dalton Kincaid getting a lot of work early on these linebackers. I like to see Deontay Hardy get the ball quick and see what he can do after the catch. I'd like to see James Cook catch some balls in the boundary and work in space. And then work and play Stephon Diggs, who's always going to be great, even against a great young corner like Sauce Gardner. I want to see Gabe Davis not just running 20, 30, 40 yards down the field all the time. This is where I want to see, this is on Ken Dorsey as well, but I'd like to see just dink and dunk them. Let's maybe see the weapons that we have talked so much about being plentiful. Let them do the heavy lifting and most of the work.
Well, I was going to say, I wanted to bring up Dalton Kincaid, and we all know what everyone has in their head, what the plan is. But this is going to be interesting to see right off the bat what they do with him, with, Diggs out there, Davis out there, Dawson Knox out there. Get Kincaid out there, who's a rookie, and, take advantage of what you can do against the Jets because, like you said, what are you going to do? Do you double Stephon Diggs? And now what they ideally want, of course, what every team wants is these matchup problems for the other team. And, again, we're going into week 1, so it's going to play out how it plays out. But when you look at this is one of the games where if you're on the other team looking at how you're going to match up against them, if they come out fully loaded, I think Dalton Kincaid could be huge early. This could be one of these things, we didn't see much from him in preseason, and he catches the first 5 balls of the game.
I think attacking the linebackers is going to be a big part of this game plan, attacking the middle of the field, and certainly Dalton Kincaid is a big part of that. I'm glad you brought up Dawson Knox, though. Maybe because so much talk and you've seen so much good film in limited action of Kincaid early, maybe that'll open up a lot of opportunities in these 12 personnel sets for Dawson Knox to arguably have the best advantageous matchup of anyone on the field. This is where I want to see Ken Dorsey come out the gate and almost like hockey lines and just almost make it look like chaos. Go formation, personnel groupings, motion. Put Dalton Kincaid in the backfield. Put 2 running backs in the backfield. Put 5 wide receivers out there. Put Stephon Diggs in the slot. Put Gabe Davis in the slot. Let's see Hardy and Sherfield. I want to see it all.
Right.
And I would love to see him scramble it all up and throw it all at the Jets from the jump. And it almost would be like, yeah, it's scripted, but how can you account for it? And that also would give you an idea early of the potential counterpunch that Robert Saleh and the Jets defense would like to give every time you throw a certain matchup out there. Then that gives you the rest of the game to figure out how you best want to utilize that. If you're going to have all of these weapons, and between Elena Getzenberg, Sal Capaccio, Matt Perino on the supersized season preview roundtable we did earlier in the week, all of them said, if you're going to have all of this talent and weapons on the offensive side, it is the onus of the offensive coordinator and Ken Dorsey in year 2 to utilize it. I think it's a really big game. We talk about what is Sean McDermott going to bring to the table as the play caller on defense. What is the evolution of Ken Dorsey as his second year in the coordinator seat? And I want to see, noticeably, without having to try too hard, I want to see it against the Jets.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when we talk earlier in early in training camp, you have all these weapons and you talk about, so many places Josh Allen is going to be able to go with the ball, that who's going to be the one? Is it Kincaid in the slot or is it Hardy in the You have them all there. I love what you just said. Get them all in. Keep them all in. Keep them guessing. And I'm not saying run a hurry-up offense and just keep them backing up, but maybe you could. But at the same time, just do not let the Jets defense get comfortable in what they're doing, because you just throw different stuff and just mix it. You have it there. You have the talent there to just keep throwing change-ups to the Jets the entire start of this game.
And let's not forget the strength of this Jets defense, which DJ Reed, the cornerback, says they want to be one of the greatest and go after the 85 Bears and whatever.
Good luck.
Exactly. But their strength is, oh my goodness, are they relentless with depth on the defensive front? Across it, inside, outside. I'm looking at their depth chart here. Carl Lawson's status is up in the air as we tape this on Thursday. Jermaine Johnson, first-round pick. Will McDonald, first-round pick this year. He's third on their defensive edge depth chart here. Technically second, though, because they just put 3 on the right and only 1 on the left. Quinnen Williams, we know he's good. Solomon Thomas. They have a lot of really, really good players. And similar to the Bills, I don't know to a T, but they can come in waves here. And we saw what the pressure did a year ago in both matchups, and Josh felt the heat in those at times and was sacked 5 times in the first one, and that was the loss. Of course, he got hurt on that one, and then he got sacked 3 times in the second game last year. That's another reason why scheme things up to get the ball out quicker and allow the playmakers to do the heavy lifting rather than hold, maybe run, scramble, and all of that. I just think you're going to have to do that. The offensive line is going to have to do part of their part and their job, and it will be interesting. We talk about Osiris Torrance. Welcome to the leagues, big fella. You're playing Quinnen Williams. Right. As Mitch Morse said, he's just got to compete and trust his fundamentals. It's not like Osiris Torrance or Mitch Morse or anyone in there is unaware of the talent that Quinnen Williams is. I think it's going to be a great test, and it's like with a lot of things, he's going to have to hold his own one-on-one, but we know how it works in the interior. He probably will have some help, and Morse may be the one giving most of it.
For the national media, John, how important is it to get Stephon Diggs involved in the game early so he doesn't get upset? And there's a picture of him pouting on the sidelines.
From a national perspective, yeah. But at the same time, I think it also all matters about the result and the look. That's where the optics, I think, matter. If Stephon Diggs has 3 catches for 40 yards, then it's, oh, my God, Sauce Gardner is so great. Look at him. He locked him down, blah, 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 blah. Oh, what does this mean? He's still not involved in the offense. What is his reaction going to be? I think we have a far more accurate and better pulse of things with Stephon and the organization and the team. There is no issue. I'll be perfectly honest with you. He's said it. There isn't an issue here. He does not need to get the ball 10 times a game to be satisfied. It's not like that. But I think if what we've already talked about, it feels better offensively. There's better flow. And if Stephon is a big part of that, which, as he pointed out, he got a lot of catches against Sauce Gardner in that first game in the first half, and then it kind of went awry. So it's not like Sauce Gardner, as great and talented as he is is someone that's going to lock down Stephon Diggs. To be honest with you, I don't think there's any corner in the league who can do that when it's a Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs combination. I don't think it's necessary that Stephon comes out and has a big game. Obviously, he's a big part of the offense, so you would expect and hope it. But as we've well run out here in the past 10 minutes or so, they got a lot of weapons and mouths that they can feed that can still move the chains, score some points. And if it's not Stephon Diggs' big game this week, I don't think it's a big deal.
All right, bet MGM, John. You know that's where I go as far as we take a look at the game. Bills minus 2.5, John. Tip my hand a little bit. I think that's a little low right now for this opener from Bet MGM.
Are you asking me to look up an updated odds here? Or are you telling
I just
me?
looked it up. This was on BetGM.
I misunderstood what you were saying there. I'm taking the Bills 2.5.
Oh, yeah, easily, yeah. I'm sorry if I didn't come across clear on that. I thought
you were saying you thought it was low in terms that
no.
It had changed.
No.
Okay.
No.
So 2.5, yes, I think that's it's a good line. I would take that.
Over under 46.5.
I'm going to take the over. I think week 1 is super funky. I think the stage and everything, I think that the Bills will win. Can I just do my score now?
Do it up.
I think they're going to win 24. Wait. 28 to 20.
See, I'm taking the over, too. I think it's going to be like 31 to 24 final. Bills on top, and Jets get to 24 even late in this game. I think this is going to be an exciting opener for as much as when we talk about how close it can be in about. I just think at least right now, and it could change as the season goes on, whatever you think about the Jets, I think right now going into the season, the Bills are just still at a different level than where the Jets are with Aaron Rodgers just getting there.
I think they got something to prove. I legitimately think that they talk about be where your feet are and be in the moment. We don't care what anybody else thinks. But Stephon Diggs, he was open. He said, I think we've done a good job at staying under the radar this offseason. We've accomplished a lot of things, but we haven't accomplished what we want to accomplish. And we've said it. They think the Jets are better than the Bills. And I think this team, their DNA just makes them more comfortable and more dangerous when less people believe in them. And that was a weird place for them to be in last year because everybody believed in them. Everyone thought that, all right, they're going to win the Super Bowl. Then they spank around the Rams in their place night 1, and it's like, boom, they're winning the Super Bowl.
Right.
It's without a question. And I'll be honest, I was with that group. That was me. I thought they were going to win the Super Bowl last year because of everything that happened the year before and the roster and everything. I feel they're in a better place now, and I think they're going to be fueled by the doubters and the stage where they can make an early impression to say, and I think you would know this being someone whose family and was born and raised in New England, there were many times that the Patriots probably had this similar feel, maybe not within the division,
right,
but within the conference and across the league of, oh, man, who's Brady throwing to? Or look what everybody else did, because you get stale of what's been the constant, and everybody wants to find something new. I think the Bills are the constant, the old news of sorts to some.
Right.
And I think that the old guard is going to show why they're still the guard come Monday night.
And I've said this before, I'll say it again, they're coming in to wipe the taste of last season out of their mouth, and the Jets are the first one up, and they're going to have to deal with it. And I just think that they're going to come out like gangbusters in this week. And then we'll take it from there, John. Like you said, you go through week 1 and then things settle down. You know, the win over the Rams a year ago, like you just touched on, was like, well, let's look at the schedule. I don't see anyone aside from the Chiefs that could beat the Bills on this schedule. So we're not looking at anything like that. You beat the Jets, you're you're off to a good start in the AFC East and in the AFC and in the season. John, let's do some 3 and out, and we'll start with a week 1 surprise. And you brought up that I grew up in New England. I am going to say this.
That's not a surprise. We knew that. I purposely try to make everyone well aware of that.
I know you do. It does well with the ratings. They're celebrating Tom Brady before the game against the Eagles, the NFC champs from last year. I am going to say that the Patriots come to play against the Eagles and get the win on Sunday over the defending NFC champs. That's my surprise. That's what I see coming.
Homer.
Hey, dude, it's a big day at Gillette. Tickets are selling for, I don't know, a crazy amount. I can't remember off the top of my head.
What is a big surprise? Well, I mean, why don't we stick with the theme? I'm from Cleveland.
Do it.
I think the Browns are going to come out and beat the Bengals in the first game of the season. I think Deshaun Watson throws for over 300 yards, and that's where it's like, he could still do that, and whether or not he could do it for an entire season, I think, and I truly think this is just a straightforward, not a homer, because there's a lot of other obstacles that this team has to overcome. I think the Browns are incredibly under-talked about. When you talk about a stacked AFC, they're the biggest wild card, and it all falls on the quarterback. If he could be even remotely close to what he used to be, I think they could win the division. I think they could push a lot of teams that maybe, like the Jets, that are assumed to make the playoffs. They can make things hard, and I think at least for week 1 to really put fuel on the fire of an overreaction, I think the Browns beat the Bengals.
I like it. I just wanted week 1, you talk about how it's crazy and nothing goes as expected. I do believe, if my memory serves me correct, this is the 20th anniversary this season of when the Bills came out and spanked Tom Brady and the Patriots 31-0 with Lawyer Malloy. You can look it up, but I think that was 2003 to start the season. Came out, was sent to the Bills while I was driving from Boston back to Buffalo. It happened, and then the Bills just came out and destroyed the Patriots, who later went on to win their second Super Bowl.
You're right. 31-0, 322 total yards of offense, 239 total yards for the New England Patriots.
Big Sam Adams picked off Brady for a touchdown. Ended up on Sports Illustrated.
They started off 2-0 that season.
Yeah.
We know how it ended.
Yep. So, like you said, it does get a little bit wild there.
They actually lost 31-0 in the final game to finish the season 6-10.
Believe me, I know that.
Yeah, of course you do.
John, I think we kind of touched on this last week. Sometimes I see something on Twitter in the back and forth, and I get all wrapped up in it. I saw something about these all one-color uniforms being referred to as unitard-looking uniforms because they're all – it looks like someone's wearing a unitard, basically.
So you're saying white on white, blue on blue?
All blue, all – it's mostly like white on white. I think that's been around the NFL for a while. I don't think that's a big thing. But I'm in the camp of I'm tired of – and I get a lot of it's superstition, John, that I think that's why the Bills wear the all blue all the time. And the all red is just nauseating to look at that. But, I mean, other teams do it around it. The Chiefs do it with their all red. You know, the Patriots now, the Dolphins have done all turquoise before. I think the Bengals do it. I don't know.
So you don't like that the Bills' uniform combination for Monday Night Football is blue on blue?
That's how it came up initially. I'm just tired. It's not, it doesn't, and it's probably my age. Maybe it's my age, John. I don't even know, but I'm sick of it. I don't like it.
I like mixing and matching. I'm a fashion guy.
I know you are. I wear blue shirts and tan pants every day of my life.
I think red pants. Do they ever do the red pants with the blue jersey? I don't think so.
Oh my God! Please no.
Why?
Red pants with a blue jersey?
They're red, white, and blue. It all matches.
Picture that in your head.
I am.
What is wrong with you?
I'm down with it, man.
I do the red shirts with the white pants, but. And finally, John, I don't know where you stand on this. Jimmy Buffett passed away about a week ago. I was a huge Jimmy Buffett fan in college. I could sit here and name about 50 songs of his, but it's good. It's a lot of memories I have from him. It's tough to see something like that happen, but I mean, that's part of life, but the memories are still there. Jimmy Buffett, any involvement? Like, do you have any memory of him at all?
I'm not a Jimmy Buffett fan. Now, Margaritavilles, I've been to plenty of those.
Of course you have.
In Vegas and things like that. Yeah, I've been to Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville. I got to be honest, I'm not really that into his music, so certainly sad that he passed away. I understand his popularity, not my bag.
Yeah, no, and that happens, but I mean, I'm talking like 3 days in a row going to the same concert. Now, given...
And you say you actually have memories of these? I didn't think at Jimmy Buffett concerts memories were part of the...
Well, I remember going there.
Okay.
Coming back's a different story. And no, I wasn't driving, in case my dad is listening. But there was this place in Boston out by Gillette Stadium. It was a big amphitheater out in the middle of the woods called Great Woods. So you didn't even need to buy a ticket. You could just hike your way into the woods and come in through the back way, hop a fence, crawl under some barbed wire. Did I say that right? I was worried I'd screw that up and you'd call me up. Boom, you're in the concert. Good time, party head by all, people passing around beers. More about the experience than the music, but still, it was a good time. And you missed out on it, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, I'm sure beers was all that was being passed around, Kevin.
Anyways, it's going to be Bills, Jets. Coming up on Monday Night Football. And John and I will be back. Of course, the Buffalo End Zone postgame show is returning this year. We have Fred Jackson back with us once again to give us his expert opinion on everything that went down. John will be down at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. And we will have that and then another podcast coming your way after the game. So enjoy kickoff weekend, everybody. And Jets up first, and then we move on from there. For Jon Scott, I'm Kevin. Thanks, as always, for tuning in.